Okay, I need to use this as a backdrop. This is a locomotive, old school, steam, and want to talk a little bit about how the railroad impacts your life. So, you get stuff basically from three means to your store. You get it by ship, you get it by railroad, you get it by truck. Basically, all the stuff you get from Japan, China, Korea, Taiwan comes over on a ship and it hits one of our ports like Long Island, New York, Houston, and it's picked up and put and then 99% of that's or 97% of that's directly put onto railroads, and then it's taken to your local areas and then finally disseminated by trucks mainly. But without railroads, we couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. Think about it. One railroad car carries several 18-wheelers worth of stuff. While I'm here talking about the gauge, the gauge, the basic railroad gauge hasn't really changed much since, if you look at the ruts on ancient Roman roads where the chariot wheels were, this is the width right here between there and there for two horses to draw a chariot. So empires come and go, but specs stay the same. And anyway, one country that didn't keep to the specs that kind of cost them a lot was Russia during World War I. Remember, after the initial, Russia was attacking Germany, and then France was attacking for the other side. The Schlieffen Pan was put into play where they threw everything first at France before they got to the mobilizing Russian Bear. And when the Russians initially had their gains against Germany, they couldn't advance with their railroads because the gauge was different. But let's go back to talking about the railroads here. So I want to bring something else up here that I don't think anybody knows about, maybe 1,000 to 1%. So Warren Buffett owns the Santa Fe Railroad. And, he was a big Obama supporter. And Obama was against the Dakota Pipeline, remember? And the reason he was against it was because Buffett donated, millions and millions of dollars to his both election and re-election campaign. So 95% of all the oil gotten out of the oil fields of the Dakotas was transported on the Santa Fe Railroad, which was owned by Warren Buffett. Now, Warren Buffett, he was a little scared, especially after the 2008, 7 and 8 banking crisis. So he liquefied a lot of his cash, which is a good hedge against deflation, but it isn't a good hedge against inflation. So he bought the Santa Fe Railroad, which is a hard asset, about the hardest asset you can actually get. And so he was against the Dakota Pipeline simply because he had pretty much almost a natural monopoly on transporting the oil out of there through his railroad, the Santa Fe line. And anyway, yeah, so keep that in mind. The railroad's the arteries of the country, and without them, your food, your ability to transport stuff goes up enormously. Cost per mile transport without keeping rails in mind. Anyway, we're here at the Transportation Museum. They've got all kinds of neat stuff here at the Texas Transportation Museum off of Wetmore Road. I highly encourage you, if you go up in this building here, they've got all kinds of old cars, like the very first Oldsmobile from 1903. Check it out. Pretty cool. I'm out of here.